great aunt is the one that runs the Scenic Fruit Company now, or they're somehow related. And so Dane calls up and says, hey, can we come do a walk through and kind of tour the facility? And starts talking about how he used to work there when he was a kid and all this stuff. And the lady was like only half paying attention apparently. And she had all the paperwork filled out for Miles to get a job there. He thought what he was asking for was for my 5-year-old son to have a job at the cannery. Because she didn't hear what he was saying, and he was probably talking about his job at the cannery when he was a kid. And so when Miles got there, they were like, oh, yeah, we'll do a tour. That's fine. And they give him a hat, and it's too big for him. But anyway, he's got his first job when he turns 14. He's going to be canning blueberries.
You're going to send him away for that?
Yep.
All right, cool.
Spend the summers with his grandparents and can some blueberries and come back with some money.
Sounds nice for you.
So long.
You have more things to push now, don't you?
I do.
Oh, yeah, since you've been here last.
I've been trying to sort them out.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Do you have it like dialed in? Are you good to
No,
go on them?
God, no. And on one of our,
It's going to be like roulette.
on one of the last ones, I found that YouTube put a copyright claim on
Oh, no.
one of them, but it said that it was like, there is a copyright on this, but they allow the use of it on YouTube. So
Cool.
So just a heads
I was
up.
like, yeah, okay, cool.
No, that works.
Doesn't affect our playability or anything like that, but
The algorithm.
it's on there and it's okay.
That's great. I can't wait for you to be like, womp, womp, beep, 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 and it just be whatever.
There's so many in here. I don't know what half of them are. I haven't gone through and like saved
No.
like some to like build a core of what I want to use because I haven't had the time to like search through it and find the things I really like.
I don't think you ever should. I think it should be a roulette every time.
Well, I always refresh, which gives us the top trending sounds in the United States.
All right.
So
Yeah, we got to be on those trends.
Yeah, those are the ones that get you the
in the
clicks.
United States, we could do trends in Europe.
Sure.
Maybe we should do that instead.
Colin, is my microphone up high enough? I sound quiet, but you guys sound loud.
Okay. Well, I can turn you up a little bit. You're 2.
Yes,
Turn
I
me up
am.
headphones.
I'm still 2. Hey, that's a little bit
Ooh, that's
louder.
great.
I
Like
like
that?
that.
Okay.
I was just listening to Us. Weird still.
Mhm.
And I was really quiet. I had to like keep raising the volume up. It was me. It wasn't you guys.
Yeah.
It was just me. I'm trying to have my microphone in the optimal position right
Mhm.
now. I'm
Mhm.
thinking about it. And I thought I'd have you, raise up my volume a little bit as well.
Okay.
I like that.
I'm also trying to do a little homework while you guys are talking so that I can catch up to what we are talking about.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Wouldn't this be pod work, not homework?
I mean, I guess I'm not at home, so there is that.
yeah.
Homework for the pod, I guess.
Yeah.
And does it work when you're just hanging out with your friends?
You know what? Sometimes, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Also,
fair.
sometimes it's just work to hang out with your friends.
Yep.
I don't know what that's like.
Let's switch shoes sometime.
I think mine are the different size.
That's okay.
I don't think we'll fit in some other people's shoes sometimes. I mean, I'd probably fit in everybody's. My feet are not
I think
massive by any chance.
I think we are the same size.
Well, so there you go.
Yeah.
Just in general.
This week on the podcast, who's got shoes?
In general.
Just across the
Obviously,
board.
look at
I mean,
us.
look,
We're
yeah.
exactly the same
Similar.
size.
Yeah, in every way.
I
Yeah,
don't know if you knew this, but
that tracks. Yeah, totally.
Getting closer every day. I've been going to the gym, and since my back surgery, I'm like 30 pounds down or so,
It's pretty good.
which is pretty nice.
Congratulations.
Um,
Can we get an applause? Man, you gotta be quicker about these things. Oh, that was
Yep, roulette. Never know what it's going to be.
because those ones aren't marked, so I can't remember. I know that this is the one we use on Mike all the time.
that would have been even more inappropriate to give him.
That's the number one. So I think the applause is. Yeah.
There, okay,
There
cool.
we go.
There you
There we go. Congratulations, Mike.
Yeah. Part of that's because I quit drinking as well. I quit drinking when my grandmother got her Dewey, and then I tried to start drinking again, and it didn't go well. My stomach got crampy and sucked, and so then I tried again, obviously,
Yeah.
just to make sure, and it wasn't good again.
You'll be
So,
back.
I know it's been a few months
You'll be
now.
back. You'll be back.
I did last time. Yeah.
Yeah, it just it's one of those things.
It's not that I want to not be drinking. It's that it didn't feel good.
I mean, I don't think it's anything to brag about to be drinking.
No, but I
mean-
miss it. I like beer.
Yeah, beer's great.
Yeah.
Here's to beer,
Here and also sparkling waters.
which is world renowned for its
Sparkling.
intense flavor and
Yes.
mood elevation.
Mm.
This one is lime, key lime.
Husky lime. I like to call that a dessert LaCroix
Oh,
because it's sweet.
okay. All right.
Yeah, key lime's in there. The Pestique watermelon.
Yeah.
That's a dessert LaCroix that I quite enjoy. I hate watermelon, by the way,
Really?
and I don't like watermelon candy. Anything watermelon flavored, not for me. Watermelon LaCroix, just enough.
It's because
It's not really.
you don't hate watermelon. You hate the concentrations of watermelon.
What's
Yeah.
ironic is the thing that I don't like about watermelon is that when you eat the fruit, to me, it tastes bland, and it bothers me.
So
It's not like sharp tasting.
less of the less
Yeah.
is more.
I can't explain it, but yes.
It's probably because you grew up so used to watermelon flavored things
Yeah, probably.
that overdo the watermelon flavor.
Yeah.
And so then when you have a watermelon, it's like, this doesn't taste like Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Well, that's like banana flavored things. No banana flavoring tastes like any of the bananas we have nowadays.
Or ever, I think. Probably.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, there's a funny story about that. The banana flavoring was made out of whatever to be like a certain type of banana that is small and very sweet. And then like people ate those into extinction and you can't get those types of banana anymore. So it is flavored after a banana. It just doesn't exist.
Are you calling regular bananas not sweet?
No, just not that sweet.
Oh, okay.
Like
Okay,
it was
they were
like
much more
it
intense.
was a smaller and much more like aggressive banana flavor that's what the flavoring is based off of.
Interesting.
It was an interesting thing that I learned for no reason.
Yeah, well,
But now here we are.
guess what? I'm not going to fact check you on that one.
Go for it.
Uh,
Hey, there you
oh,
go.
it's the little yellow guys.
This is going to be the one that gets us copyrighted.
Probably.
Minions has a real big.
They're very
defense-
litigious.
Yeah.
Their legal team is insane.
Oh my god. I was going to say on the watermelon thing you said because I would have probably had more watermelon flavored things.
Mhm.
We didn't have a lot of fresh fruit and produce in my house as a kid. I don't know if it's like I've found that I can't tell if it's like a socio-economical thing or if it's like a health conscious. I have no idea why, and I always feel bad when I say things like this because my little brother is 10 years younger than me, and I think he's listening to this and thinking either you're crazy or I had a different childhood or
Right.
I didn't see it that way or whatever. So I always kind of feel bad about that. But we didn't have we did have some things, but not
Yeah.
like that. Like I don't think that I ever had watermelon in my house that I can recall ever.
We had a lot less, but we were in Alaska where the growing season doesn't exist and you have to ship it.
Yeah.
So I get where you're coming from, and we also weren't, like we were like lower middle class growing up kind of thing, and when we moved down to Oregon, that was something that we noticed is that like there was fresh food all like you could grow stuff nearby,
Yeah.
and it's not hard to get. And that was the big difference. Everything was cheaper at the grocery store, so we were able to do a lot more. But that was, Alaska, so I don't know why you didn't have it, but
Well, I know why, but I'm not going to go too far down that path. What are we doing now?
we're trying to.
Is that a thing I should know?
I don't know. I think it said watermelon, but
Oh,
Oh,
oh yeah, of course. It's the watermelon song.
yeah. There you go.
Oh,
Hey,
that
that's
a little more
song.
obvious,
There
right?
we go.
There you
That's a
go.
different one, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That would have been more obvious to use.
Yeah,
I was
I like
looking for watermelon.
Is that a thing?
It's the most beautiful thing
Oh, yeah,
I've
it
seen
is.
in my life. It's watermelon. Inside a watermelon.
That's what I was looking for.
I showed that to Miles, and every time Haley gets watermelon out, he goes, "No, Mom, it's watermelon."
Watermelon.
And I'm like, "This is the greatest."
That's awesome.
I love teaching him little things like that to use against my wife.
That's the way that it should be, right?
Yes.
Well, before we get too far into this podcast, we should probably say it's the Campfire Passport podcast.
Oh,
Okay, it's been said.
Okay. And then the second thing that I want to say is we're getting close to Halloween.
Yeah.
And man, I don't know about in your town when you're listening to this, if you don't live here. Do you have stupid people, especially stupid Jeep people, that
I
have
know.
skeletons of all kinds all over their vehicles? Like, it's worse
And
to
fake
me.
blood.
Fake blood. It's worse
Mhm.
to me than the Christmas light thing, which I also don't like.
Yep.
Very
With ya.
against that. But at least somehow that feels classier. You know,
Yeah.
like
You know-
you put a little, like, you got a little some lights on your rack. Like, that's stupid, but it's
Mhm.
not that stupid.
It
But-
seems
but
worse this year.
10-foot tall skeleton sitting in the back seat of your Jeep on October 5th.
Yep.
Get the fuck out of here.
It
That's
seems-
so stupid.
It seems worse this year. It seems more aggressive and like more people are doing it. I think people are making these skeletons too accessible.
Mm.
I think we need to start.
I think
There should be like a background check or a psych, a
We had
psych
national
exam.
shortage on,
to
on
make sure-
giant skeletons.
yeah, for a while.
Yeah,
Supply chain and all that.
Yeah.
you have to check a box that says you'll only put it in your yard as a regular Halloween decoration, like a normal human. Stop strapping it to your vehicle.
I saw one that was like a truck, just a Dodge Ram or something, skeleton dog in the back, and I was like, "What? What is that even?" I don't. It kind of implies that you left your dog in your truck until it died. That's what I saw.
Yeah,
Especially when it's by itself. It doesn't have a skeleton guy friend or like
there's not like another skeleton thing there.
not two skeleton dogs. I don't know. There wasn't any blood either,
Yeah.
Well,
or spider webs. I don't know.
I've been seeing a Subaru Crosstrek, and of course it's pumpkin orange,
Ah,
and it's got a rack, and they've got like spider webs and all of that, like all over the rack. No skeletons, but
Surprising.
it is skeleton adjacent.
how long until one of these skeletons comes off? Because the
Oh,
people
it's
installing them are not top class, mechanics by any means. It causes enough of an accident that we have some sort of like legislation against it. It's got to happen.
I'm sure there's a law in place that would work.
Yeah.
You know, like some sort of, I don't know, not distraction, but like obstruction of view kind of thing.
Yeah, or
Unsecured load.
Exactly.
I will say I don't know what you guys are going to have for an opinion on this. Houses with that stuff, I'm all for.
I don't care at all. Yep.
Spooky your house up. I'm cool with that. That's sweet.
Because you're doing it for the kids in the
Yeah,
neighborhood,
sure.
and it's a lot of fun. And
We-
none
there's-
of these people are doing it for kids. They're doing
No,
it for
they're
themselves. and
Doing
they're-
it to pat
Yeah.
themselves on the back because they love.
Yeah, make sure you see my Jeep with the giant skeleton, because you need
Yeah.
to look at me more. I mean, how else are they going to get all those ducks? You got to get noticed.
There's got to be
So
a
then-
skeleton duck.
I'm
right?
sure. I was
Oh,
just
there
thinking
has
about that.
to
I
be.
was like, I bet there's
There
a
has
skeleton
to
duck
be.
that somebody's passing out. There's pumpkin
I'm
ducks.
not,
We've
and
seen
I'm not
those.
even willing to Google
You
it.
don't want that on
because
your
I
history?
don't want that on my Don't put that in my algorithm.
Your FBI
Like,
agent
I
shouldn't
just-
see
yeah.
you googling ducks.
Even though
Yeah.
now I've said it out loud
Yeah.
with my phone in the room, it's going to
God
be all
dang
over
it.
my phone. So.
Here we are.
Yeah.
This is a good. This is
Probably
a good
gonna get
investment
copyrighted
here.
on that one too. I guess.
Do you have the copyright board there,
I don't
basically?
know. I'm just
Specifically,
What other stupid, like seasonal stupid things are there? So there's Christmas lights for sure,
Mhm.
skeletons.
Yep. Skeletons and pumpkins.
I've seen
The
people
pumpkin on the
do-
snorkel
What?
in the overland thing.
I've never seen that.
Haven't seen that?
No.
People do the pumpkins on the top of the snorkel.
Oh my
I've seen
God.
it. Yeah. Yep.
there's the cab full of water down during hurricane season in Florida.
I don't think that's a
Oh.
holiday.
Yeah. You,
No, well, it's a
You
season.
lost me
It's
on
a
that
seasonal
one.
thing.
Yeah, usually not a holiday though.
It's because the Florida flooded, Sean.
I
don't know if you've heard
understand.
about. There's a hurricane that happened.
There's two.
A couple of them, and a third one's coming. That was the joke.
Oh, okay.
I think a lot of this started from what I remember is BMW guys were doing the blood all over their cars. This is the first thing I remember of
No,
like this whole thing.
It was Mustangs first.
Was it must? Well, that
Yeah,
was
because it
that
was
was
first.
real
It was
blood.
real blood.
Oh,
and
that's-
then they started making
Yeah.
fun of themselves by putting fake blood.
Well, even when I was younger than that era of Mustangs running into lots of people, I remember there being like a couple BMWs that were like white and red, and they had like blood handprints and stuff all over their cars. That's the first one I remember.
It must be an Alaska thing.
So it was after Alaska. No, it was
California thing.
here in
Here.
this area.
Well, I don't know. I was just thinking other holidays. Like, is there St. Patrick's Day car?
I'm sure there's like 3 people that do that, but they're
I think it probably exponentially grows and shrinks on the outward view of how large the holiday itself is.
and not a lot of people are driving on St. Patrick's Day. Let's be real.
Well, they shouldn't.
I
be.
sure hope not. Yeah.
It's an Uber holiday for sure.
Yeah. Sports teams. That was what I was going to think of. Especially college football.
Yeah.
Especially college football.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's
Honestly, high school sports as well. People are
really.
drawing all over their cars.
Yeah, I guess there's some
see that
drawing. I
pretty
just don't see
regularly.
like the flags. Like
No.
Oregon, University of Oregon, and
Ducks
Oregon
and-
State fans both have flags.
A lot of
and they-
times, both of them,
Yeah.
which is confusing.
House divided.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah. What is there's a bumper sticker. It's like duck up front, beaver in the trunk, or the flip of that or something.
I've never seen
oh,
that.
you haven't seen that?
No, I have not seen that
Oh
one.
man,
I'm
seen it
glad
a
I
few
haven't.
times.
Ah.
Pretty stupid.
Yeah. There's a lot of stupid stickers out there.
I don't know. That's
They go well with the stupid people.
Hmm.
As long as they're happy, though. I hope they're happy.
yeah.
That's-
I do in a way, but also as much as I want to, respect everybody, and I am trying always to be that way. There's like a section of people
Yeah. No, they could stop.
that I just am like, stop doing that.
Yeah.
You're making everybody look bad.
But I don't think we're going to make them stop doing it. And so at least I hope they're
certainly
happy.
not.
That's all.
Yeah, the best
At
thing
that
you can
point-
do in that situation is give them less attention.
Oh yeah, I just kind of pretend they don't exist.
I got to stop high-fiving all of them.
Well, you're definitely Jeep waving
That's a
them
Jeep guy thing to do right there.
I'm joking. Come on.
as you're driving around without a top or doors when it's 50 degrees outside because you're that cool.
I only did that at the Rubicon. I'm actually going to flex seal. So here's
Well, it was
here's how
warm there.
here's how not going to remove my top I am. I'm flex sealing the gap because water comes in for my Freedom tops. So I bought that like 4
So
inch
no
wide.
more freedom for you.
No, stop with the
Freedom is
Freedom.
out. No freedom.
We're going to flex seal that whole thing shut. And if I ever need to take the top and doors off again, I'm just going to have to deal with that as later me. Because I don't ever want it to be off except for like an extreme circumstance like doing the Rubicon. It makes the most sense then. There you go. YouTube's going to be like, I don't know how many copyrights you infringed upon, but
It's many.
I don't know what we were allowed to do here.
That's under 7% of that movie.
Yeah, all right. Well,
Hey, there you go.
That's what I was told was the rule of thumb. Technically, it's not true, but
It's not true. Oh no.
I'm 100% aware that this is not a fact, but I will state it anyway.
yeah, because that's what people typically say.
So I'm going to seal that off because every time I go through a car wash, it rains inside. So that's cool.
Not really.
Well, it's very cold.
Well, cool and cold.
Yeah.
That reminds me.
It's not awesome. That's for sure.
My sunroof was closed shut with some sort of sealant. And I broke that seal at some point a couple of years ago. And so anytime I go through a car wash, if it rains, it's like not bad usually. But if snow melts up there
Mhm.
or I go through a car wash, it drips pretty aggressively inside. So I need to fix that.
I won't have any
Before
leftover
winter.
You know,
Flex Seal.
one of the things that probably helped in you not noticing that was when you used to leave the tent on.
Oh yeah, that helps. That helps for sure. Because I also don't go through like what I usually do when the tent isn't on is use touchless car washes. Not like I'm going to screw the paint up just because I don't want stuff to get knocked off. It just kind of feels like the easiest thing. And man, there's some aggressive jets that come spraying through my sunroof.
Yep.
I think when Ethan was here, we might have talked about it. But the guy Solve Function, the guy that does like Land Cruiser parts, he makes a bunch of like 3D printed stuff.
Mhm.
He's making a sunroof plug that is like
Oh.
either not see-through or like a plexi see-through or something else. I forget what the other option was, but it doesn't open. Basically, it's a fixed sunroof panel that seals.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to do that because I've never really, it's never worked. And
And half the year you've got to.
yeah, half the year I
Got a
got a
tent
tent
on
over
there
it, so,
anyway,
like, I don't
so-
need it.
Yeah.
And it also saves, not that this is a huge thing, but it saves like 60 pounds or something like that.
well, yeah,
over
because the
sunroof.
glass is.
Yeah, and the
gotta be
motors and
pretty
track
heavy,
and
yeah.
all that stuff. So,
I mean, 60 pounds that high does make a difference.
yeah. I mean, my tent's only, 120 or something. So,
Yeah.
a couple of those things together. So, if you're listening, Lee, I think is his name,
Wow.
get going on that, buddy.
Do we need to fact check you on that one? Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. And if you do that after the podcast and change it, I'll voice it over. I'll dub it.
Baba, yeah.
That's like
His name's going to be like 3 syllables long. You said Lee, and it's just going to be like Jonathan. You're like, oh, no.
yeah, it's close.
Yeah.
It's close. J and L are pretty close to each other in the
dubbing
alphabet.
will be really fun.
So,
yeah.
It's funny because I don't know about you right now because it sounds like you might be in the same path. That is like one of the things I'm thinking about as a key modification for my car for the next 6 months. Like I've kind of I'm not thinking about other things. I'm like, you know what I need to do is seal up my sunroof.
Yeah, my Jeep is pretty well set. I think
Yeah.
I might need to refix the rear end permanently because it feels like the shims are sliding again. It's kind of whining in the back again, which is like the first thing it was doing before. For the listeners at home, the rear end on my Jeep was flashing the locker light at me because the driver's side, all of the shims in the rear had slid out, and so the actual gear set had like moved pretty
Jeez.
regular. So I pushed it all back in there and hoped for the best. And so far it's been fine. But I might have to do that, and then otherwise it's like seal it up so I can winter wheel it. It's got some questionable leaks when it gets cold, and I'm just not. I don't know exactly what's leaking. Nothing's low on any kind of fluid.
You're fine then.
So when I figure out what is leaking out of it, I'll get that figured out. I already took
Perfect.
almost 3 quarts of transmission fluid out of it.
Yeah. So a little
ATF.
leak there would have helped you.
I know. I wish it would have. I did the whole Rubicon with 3 too many quarts of ATF in it.
Well, it was. I mean, yeah,
which is fine.
working hard.
Yeah. So that leak is gone, which is nice.
I caught in conversation something about gears, and I was very confused. And we all glossed over it, and I was like, I don't know what we're doing here.
Well, I finally read into it. It's got 513 gears. So I've assumed it's not fast, right? And so I assumed it was just like OEM gear set because the people who I bought it from didn't know because they were a wrecking yard, and the people who wrecked it weren't good at Jeeps, from what I remember, by how it was. And so I was like, obviously they didn't re-gear it. It doesn't make any sense. They had 35s on it, and like, why would they re-gear it?
They definitely looked like something that came off of something else too.
Yeah. So I don't know. They had 513 gears in it though. So and they're stamped and all that, so you can tell exactly that that's what they are. But they work.
Cool.
It does stuff when it's time to be slow.
Yeah.
And it'll do 70. It's not happy about it, but it will.
Those are fine.
Mhm.
The 37s helped, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Oh.
I not that it wasn't going to be that impressive that you had done whatever you've done on, stock gears, but
Right.
now it's like, oh, okay, well, that makes
Makes more
sense.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
That's
hadn't
why-
opened them up. The cool thing about the Dana 44s on the JKs is that you have a drain plug in the bottom and a fill plug in the top, and so you can just change your oil, and you don't have to open anything, and you don't have to pop the case to drain it and all that other stuff. So I just never opened it. I've been doing gear oil changes every time they get submerged.
You're a better person than I am.
Well, mine definitely pull water in, so I know that I have to.
I've done that before. Well, my front axle really pretty much was just a
It's self.
constant,
Yeah.
constant drain and refill. Not anymore.
You've essentially been flushing it for the last 10 years. Yeah.
But yeah, I've been flushing it with grease and water and who knows what else.
Dirt.
Year.
Mhm.
Once a year or so. Once every other year. Just do it.
Yeah, I
Just because.
probably around that, but I did it a couple times because it was sparkly. So I did it once, and then we wheeled it a little bit, and it was less sparkly the second time. And I was like, oh, great. Okay.
That's perfect. It fixed. It
Yeah.
fixed itself.
Well, it was probably because those gears were breaking in, and nobody had changed the oil on it.
That actually could be true. That's interesting. Yeah.
So, because the last time when I opened it up, there was no sparkle. It was great.
Well, should we talk about some other things that aren't our stuff?
Sure.
Okay, let's do it. So I actually was thinking about this when you brought it up. So Colin suggested that we talk about the current like accumulation of content around the Onyx Build Challenge for this year, which is the second season, which is really cool. And I think it actually is something that's like pretty relevant to what we always talk about. And well, it's cool stuff. Like I think it's a great initiative that they're working on. I thought we had talked about the start of it before, but maybe we haven't.
Very briefly.
Very briefly.
Yeah,
Okay.
we didn't really cover a ton.
Okay.
About
So
it.
they did this last year, and a bunch of YouTubers basically got together and built a vehicle with a certain budget with some key sponsors that are like supplying a few of the parts. I think there's probably like a safety budget that isn't accounted for, just some silly
so-
YouTube stuff like that.
safety
Brakes, safety stuff,
Yeah.
seats, things that you can. Last year, and I don't know if they've changed it much, but last year they were like stretching that as far as they could. They're like, extended brake lines shouldn't be covered because you need your brakes to work. And they're like, and you know, if you have better bushings, you're less likely to have. And they're,
It's the name of the game.
but that's I would do that too.
Yeah.
Got to find the loopholes.
Absolutely. So this year they did it, and I watched that video, but I didn't rewatch it again today. What's the official theme? What is it supposed to be?
So here's some insider baseball there. The official theme was overland,
That's
like
what I thought.
camping
Like you
style.
can drive to the trail in this thing, whatever it is. Was the
Well,
idea.
and it was supposed to not be like a lot of trail. It was supposed to be like a 4-day, you got to camp and sleep and do out of it kind of thing. And then, so Colt, who's doing the Pacer, has just dropped out of it. And one of the things he dropped out of it about was he was building a 2-wheel drive, like trophy truck style Pacer is what he wanted to do. He thought it'd be cool to have that. And they changed the rules from dirt roads, overlanding, campy stuff, which would have been great in a 2-wheel drive, dirt jumping style Pacer. It'd been a lot of fun to have a bit of power and a lot of fun there. To, we're going to have some like real rock crawling, and they kind of modified as they went. So it's going to be more of like a Rocklander kind of style, not just
I hate this
Overlander.
term, but I
I know,
get
but
it.
you know what I mean, though.
It fills the thing. I
makes the
understand
sense.
it. But
I know.
Jeez, I hate it.
It's there now. And so he's like, I then am not building A, what I wanted to, and B, it's not going to work for the things that we're doing. So that's part of why he dropped out. But yeah, so it's supposed to be like that Rocklander deal.
That's what I understood it as from the beginning, but I may not have. I mean, obviously, I wasn't there. I will also say to build a 2-wheel drive truck of any kind, or car, I guess in this case, for an off-road challenge is taking some pretty big assumptions on what you're going to do, because when they like got them all together, they made them all test these vehicles, and they had to do like a tug of war, and they had to drive up this hill that you're not going to make in a pre-runner.
Right.
Like you maybe, I guess.
I mean, at 50 maybe.
But like that's not what that's for. So that's kind of a weird thing, but whatever. I don't know the inside part of it. I'm sure he's got more to that story, and it's his story to tell. So yeah, that's the theme.
Mm-hmm.
The original video, which if you're not watching, it's on the Onyx YouTube channel, or Onyx Off-Road YouTube channel. They get all these people together and they bring their projects. The thing that I never got, and I think it's the thing that we talked about when we brought this up originally, is everything is so weird. There's like the first one was like, hey, we're building a Ram Charger, we're building an 80 series, we're building a normal off-road rigs, and then this
an
one,
S10 was the other one.
S10, great S10, square body S10.
To me, I think what the main format change was so the first year there was only 4.
Yeah.
So I think the first year was really the test, the beta run.
Yeah.
To see if Onyx itself could put this on and it could turn into something.
Yeah.
And now that they have proof of concept, they are doing it again, and everyone from last year was invited again to do it, plus some additionals as well. So they expanded the group.
Yeah.
And I think that now there is this proof of concept, and they've got more people in there. Some people are choosing to be kind of off the wall or whatever, because it's this.
I bet it was.
It's this extra
probably,
build
too.
that they
Sure.
get to do for
Yeah.
their own content as well as for someone else.
Yeah.
So that's why they're kind of
And
doing weird. Some of them are doing weird stuff. Not everyone is doing super weird
yeah.
things. There are a couple of more traditional styles going on.
Well,
So-
and so another thing that I had heard about it was that it was kind of, they were pitching it and trying to make it a for TV episode kind of setup there, and it didn't pan out, it sounds like. So it'll all be on YouTube like the last one, which is still just fine for most of us. But I think that there was probably some, like, make it a little bit weird. You know, those Netflix race car series where they've got light up Corvettes and all the, like, oh yeah, you got to be wild so the people will watch it. And that's not for us. That's not for car people. But that'll, if you make it for TV, you kind of have to make it for all people. And so I could see why one of them was a Mini Cooper.
Yeah, I
A
mean,
Mini
it's like
Cooper.
it's like
New Mini,
a
yeah.
bread van, a Mini Cooper,
Yeah.
originally a Jeep on a Dodge chassis, which isn't that weird, but it's weird enough.
But it's a dually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else you got? The
So now it's a
Jeep
Series 3.
Liberty or whatever,
Liberty,
Mhm.
a Willys wagon.
which is
Yep.
kind of that
Which
seems
is-
to be one of the more normal ones.
Yeah, that's more
And
normal, but
that's
it's
my favorite
very
build
cool
for
looking.
It's very
sure.
cool.
Yeah.
so far. An XJ Jaguar.
hmm
Oh yeah.
a Pacer,
Yeah,
which is no
and then
longer.
the Pacer. Well,
And
so here's the thing about the Pacer. I don't know that that's necessarily out
Mm.
because Colt was the only group. It was him and the Tow Mater guy
Yep.
that were partners on it.
So they're-
Colt may have backed out.
They're
but
both out.
They're both out. Okay.
Yep. So Colt
'Cause I
talked about
thought
that in the
Maybe Tow Mater was just going to take over and make
Well,
it a 4-wheel drive, but
there was like some scheduling changes, which is so the first person that was out apparently was the Mater guy because he's getting married, and then the scheduling changes were schedule changed like into his wedding, and so he was like, ha. And so then Colt also backed out. But the Pacer at this point, because he had found out about the changes, is now on like a TJ chassis with Jeep running gear and all that stuff. So it kind of sounds like it would have been ready for that. And the way he was talking, he's going to undo all that stuff and do a long arm 2-wheel drive race rig still on the TJ frame.
I could have swore that in the other video he said that they had already talked about that's what they were going to do.
Yeah,
Just
well,
use all the TJ stuff.
I'll send you the other video because he was talking about how like that's
So
not
I
the
didn't-
plan that he
I didn't
had
do
for
the
building.
deep
but yeah.
dive and go into every individual person's channel to watch what they're doing. I
Yeah.
just watched what was on the Onyx
Onyx
thing
stuff,
just to
yeah.
get the basic
Same.
idea of everything.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was interesting because I was only interested because of the drama part of that one, following that. I was just like, I wonder what's going
Love
on.
a little drama.
But I like watching the Fab Rat stuff. Those guys are interesting in the garage. They're like, they build things kind of like I would build them, and not like in the YouTuber way, like in the like I would already be in the garage. Well, what if it hits that? You're like, I don't know. Let's build it, and then if it hits that, let's figure it out.
Sure.
Sort of deal. I like that style of building, I guess.
Yeah, I think he's got the Fab Rat dude has the coolest starting point
Yeah.
and has the most potential for it being like the best rig out there.
Well, it's LS on tons in a Super Duty chassis that's been shortened. Like,
Yeah, it's pretty slam dunk. There's really no
Yeah.
downside on that rig.
and it
Other
sits
than
really
just it
low.
being
Yeah.
a really old body that is going to be
Beat up
an
eventually.
old body inside.
Oh,
you
I
know?
guess if
So
you're
it's
like
gonna
to-
be
yeah.
noisy and dusty and all that shit.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like everybody loves a Willys wagon. They're
Yep.
cool. They're nostalgic.
And he kept it
Yeah.
low center of gravity, which was big
Mhm.
in the way that it looks.
Yeah, it
I
looks
think it
great.
looks really rad.
I like that the switch to the Rover. We talked about this a few weeks ago.
So the Series 3 for Nate.
That's a cool looking rig. I mean,
Mhm.
is it going to perform well? I have no idea. But it
Oh, he
looks
swapped
cool.
to that? He's not going to do the...
No,
The dually anymore?
So he basically he decided to. Well, he made sure that he could change vehicles if it was within the
yeah.
Onyx rules, and I'm sure they bent some rules for him to let him stay in the competition.
Yeah.
But basically, he came to this crossing point of deciding that the time constraint was going to cause it so that he couldn't build it how he wanted to, because
Right.
originally it was this build was going to be like he planned on doing this build for himself anyway.
Right,
And
that
so he
come
was
and
just going
swap
to
with that,
double
yeah.
up and use it for both. But now, because he has this time constraint, he knew he wasn't going to be able to get the things done that he wanted to get
Yeah.
it done and how he wanted to get it done. So he bailed out on that for now
Right.
to then do a quicker, simpler project with Series 3.
Well, yeah, that blue Jeep has been in the back of his shop for forever, getting little things done to it.
Yeah.
Where he was going to diesel swap it and get it all squared away for being a tow pig, if I remember correctly, a long while back. So,
Yeah, it's
but he doesn't.
shop
Yeah.
shop and recovery and all that. Like,
He
that was the
doesn't.
idea.
He doesn't have to do anything though, so that makes sense. I could see how he would like. Well, if it's going to be my truck, I want it to be this, and this.
Mhm.
That's a really nice way to say he overthinks everything.
Oh yeah, he goes into it, man.
I rebuilt the suspension 4 different times because
I've got a gusset for this
I
gusset so that I
didn't
could dimple
want-
dye it.
I
Yeah.
didn't want to make it that way.
Yeah, there's some interesting characters as far as the people in this group go. It's a lot of, I mean, obviously they're all YouTubers.
Mhm. There's
so-
that one lady that you don't like to listen to.
Yeah, she's a bit tough. But so here was the thing that I noticed as I was going through the videos. I think that 75% of them are all in Utah. Is Utah
Oh, yeah.
some kind of
It's a
YouTuber
hotbed.
tax haven or something? Like, what is going on there?
I think the Mormon church
Fab
is strong.
rats?
Yeah, yeah.
So
I do.
Fab Rats is there.
Mhm.
Friggin' Matt's off-road recovery. Granted, he's not in this competition, but he's in Utah also.
Yep.
And then then Rudy is there, and
Yep.
then the
Robbie Layton guy.
Robbie Layton dude
Yep.
is there, and
Mischief.
the girl, the
Mischief Maker.
Mischief Maker. She's
Tomato
there.
is there.
Toe Mater is from there. Like what?
The Light Bright couple is there.
Yeah. See,
It's Sand
So
Hollow.
what is? Well,
Is the big thing. So
I think there's one more thing in
I-
common.
there's-
That's my theory.
so the Mormons are taking over
I think
YouTube?
so. I think
Wow.
so.
Good on them.
Man.
I'm just, it's
I don't know that the
an unbiased or unbased claim. I have no idea,
Mhm.
but I have a hunch.
are the Light Bright people Mormon? I don't think they are.
I bet they have space underwear just like Matt from Matt's Off-Road Recovery does.
I don't know. I'd be interested to know because a lot of their content is the wife in a bikini being a big.
Oh, well, there you go.
I don't know this.
Clickbaity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they're all about
They're all about her in a bikini.
they go to Jeep Beach every year, and the picture
Oh,
is
it's,
just
you
like
know,
they
you're
get
swimming.
all,
What are you gonna do?
all the hot women they could find, and that's the click.
Well,
Um,
listen, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying I think it's part of it.
oh, well, I'm not saying it's wrong either. I would just be interested to know if they're the sexy side of the Mormon Church.
Yeah, well, they're
Mormons
reformed.
after dark.
Reformans.
But they're not.
I really got myself with that one.
I made a bad joke. We had sound effects, and then
Well.
he does, and he gets to laugh at himself. I get it. I see how this
Sorry,
is.
I was looking at the Utah tax rates.
Colin's gonna move.
There's got to be something deeper than just it's everyone's Mormons. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Well, it
I was
is
just down there.
impressive.
You can buy Jeep parts you can buy parts for super cheap. I got a Curry 9-inch fabricated housing axle for $450.
It's pretty sweet.
So I get it.
I mean, Sand Hollow and Moab being together are something for sure. That could have something to do with the off-road basis of those channels. You could be right, but also
Also, yeah,
like 80% of the population
I
of
don't know.
Utah.
I mean, I guess it's
it's true.
like
That's true.
relatively close to California, so it's kind of easy to get to California. It's kind of easy to get to Arizona because Arizona seems to be blowing up with more knowledge of their wheeling areas out there.
Well, Arizona is interesting because it's always been like, without going to the to the East Coast or something, that is like car culture number 2. Phoenix, anybody that was in the LA, car industry, basically, eventually, if they didn't stay, one of the main places they would have gone that's not Chicago or something like that is Arizona. Phoenix is like a hotbed for
Well,
bike stuff. It's
yeah.
a hotbed for custom
Weather
stuff.
for one,
Yeah,
and
year
then
round.
two, it being a giant metro area. So when you need to find employees
Yeah.
for these
Yeah.
businesses, there's
Well,
a large pool to.
It's predominantly
Bring 'em in.
always been cheap too. So
Yeah.
there's that. And
Well, and you
It's
get a
gone up
year-round car
recently,
culture.
but-
You don't have to stop. That's
Oh, yeah.
why California
Well,
was popular
kinda.
because
it's flipped for those people.
oh,
You don't have car culture from July to September. That's the thing.
you just
At
have
least
to
not the
start
big
doing.
blocks that can't cool themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to put AC in the build. Yeah,
Yeah, all the hardcore motorcycle guys stop riding now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Too damn hot.
it sucks to ride when it's that hot. I have this summer has sucked for me to get out and ride. It's either been super smoky or super hot, and if you have any kind of gear on, you're just sweating through it.
So, what is everybody's favorite then? Is it
Ooh,
the
favorite
Willys?
build.
The Willys, yeah.
I think for me it's the Willys and then the Series 3.
Yeah, I'm
But,
right.
but I'm a Land Rover nerd.
I
so
haven't even looked
can't-
at that yet, so I don't
Yeah.
know. That
It's-
might have a place.
It's really
I
good.
think it's gonna be cool.
I really like the simplicity of you just put it on the Ford chassis though, and you put an LS in it. I think that's going to give him a lot of whoop pow, don't worry about it.
What did he
kinda
say?
thing.
I was watching that video today. It's shortened like
It's like 40 inches.
Yeah.
After
So you
the
don't
axle.
just
So
put
it's
it
like
on.
20. It's
Yeah.
20. Well, I know,
so
but
he
the links almost touch in the middle.
he shortened it from the middle by
like 30 inches.
by like 30 or 40 inches, and then he cut 4 feet off the back.
That's what I
back,
heard.
yeah.
So 7 feet of frame just
Yeah.
hacked out of that thing almost.
All I'm saying is that
But then all the
that
body
frame,
mounts lined right up. Apparently,
well, because didn't he say there's like 16 body mounts on
12,
the Jeep?
yeah.
So he's
Typically
like, pick
there's
your
like, you
favorite.
know,
yeah.
8,
Yeah.
6
Yeah.
or 8.
6. Yeah.
That thing had 12.
Yeah, but I think that that frame is going to be plenty strong. I think those axles are going to be plenty strong. That LS is going to work. There's just not anything that's like super
Nothing wrong with it.
weird about
Obviously,
it, and
yeah,
it's just going to
it's
work.
a good combo
Yeah.
of all things. So yeah, like I think he's, as long as things go together fine,
Right.
I think he's potentially he's in a front runner for winning like the competition
Right,
parts,
right.
not the voting part,
Yeah,
because the voting can be, you know,
it's just a popularity
it's
contest.
a total popularity contest type deal, followers contest.
Mhm.
But I like Nate's a lot just because it's a Series 3 and it's cool to,
He builds
to see
good
a Series
stuff.
3.
He does overthink a lot of stuff, but he
Um,
does build pretty good stuff.
The seeing some of the stuff, the bread van thing, he's putting a lot of fancy work into it, and he says like they're not counting the cost of a lot of the materials, it sounded like, because he already had it, which is kind of like, it's a bit of a
My
sidestep.
company bought stuff and they put it in the
Of a rule there, but okay, whatever. But he's doing like a ton of, well, not him, one of his employees is doing a ton of like aluminum work inside.
What's the general build? Is it going on tons with an LS? Is it going to
Yeah.
be okay?
So it was what was it? I think it was a Dodge. Was it a Dodge chassis? I can't remember. Anyway,
Okay.
but it was like it's a full size chassis, but it's 2-wheel drive. So he's just putting a solid axle in the front, but
Right,
the
right.
rear already had a 1-ton axle, and then like big tires. But he's building the back out as like
A camper.
overland friendly,
Okay.
like a van.
Yeah.
He even made a joke about, I might be able to fit a 4-wheeler in here. So that'd be interesting. But I think that'll be interesting, but I think that its size potentially could kind of screw him up. But yeah, I am really not a backer of the make cars for 4-wheel drives thing. So like the Pacer, as much as I've seen cool Pacers,
Well, Dirty Every Day already did it.
I don't want to see that because I don't like that. I don't like the Jaguar thing. I get the joke because the bleeping Jeep guy is
Building
the
an
XJ guy.
Yeah.
XJ thing was kind
And
of
so
funny.
like, yes, I get it. I get the joke, but I don't like 4-wheel drive cars. I just don't. don't like the idea of it at all. I think it's dumb.
I think I'm on the same page as you because every
So-
time I see you see those lifted Chevelles or people do that with like a Camaro or a Mustang. You're
Doesn't-
like, what do you? Just get a truck.
Doesn't
you
Matt's
wanted
Off-Road? Oh yeah, Matt's Off-Road has the
Yes, it has that-
Corvair, the
the Corvair.
Morvair,
Yeah.
and
to me.
That's grown on me a little bit, but
That's a
yeah,
little
still
less 'cause
overall.
It seems like an early SUV size, and so
it's
I
a
didn't.
wagon.
Yeah, but
I know, but it's-
it's short. Its floor to roof is short.
It's a Volkswagen basically with
With the front, I don't. Yeah,
it's a big
I got-
Volkswagen.
I gotta say, I was watching one of his recent videos, and they're I don't know, there's some thing, and then they drive a brand new GT3 RS,
Mhm.
which was kind of like, whoa, okay. And he says it's basically a Corvair, it's a flat six, and I was like, well, you know what? Hats off to you, Matt. Kind of like a
Okay.
Corvair. It's a
way to
flat
Corvair
six
everything.
in the back.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think one that that will do, because I'm not going to count the Mini either because I think that's dumb as well. I don't know. It's shaping up to be an interesting competition, especially if they actually are going to like wheel it stuff like they did last year.
Yeah.
Because some of these like car conversion things are dumb. So I almost don't even want to see how they perform. I'd rather see like how someone built the Willys or the
Mhm.
Series 3 or even the Liberty. Like
Yeah.
that has a lot of potential to be really good, like because she's keeping it like super simple. She's not doing anything engine wise. All she's doing is she's
3.8,
putting
right? Yeah.
She's not even putting 1-tons in it. She's doing 44s.
Yeah.
Is what I at least that's what I thought I heard her say. And 37s.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
it's like my JK at that point. It's got the same 3.8
Mhm.
motor. It's got the same, like,
yeah, it's just a weird looking body that's really
Yeah.
small. Like, so like I think that might do surprisingly well, despite
as long as it stays
who's
lightweight,
building
that'll
it.
probably
But
be the right.
but yeah, I think outside of the car conversions, I think that the vehicles are cool and are on par with being as cool as the trucks were last year.
Yeah.
In the Ram Charger, I mean the Land Cruiser wasn't that cool. It was just a Land Cruiser.
Shots
and,
fired.
And the S10, which like
The S10.
the
was-
S10's like a who cares truck, really. Like I'm not into that truck at all.
No, but it
But
worked.
it was a really well done, very
Yeah.
simple, like all leafs. Like it was
Yeah.
that
And
was
it
a really good truck. Like that was a good wheeler for sure.
did so well.
Mhm.
And yeah, no, I agree with that. I do think it's gonna be interesting because I think Rudy's a pretty decent fabricator, and I think that
Yeah, but it
There's
started
a-
with a Mini Cooper,
I know I don't think it's gonna be good.
a new Mini.
I don't
Sorry.
think I'm gonna
Not a
like
real
it.
Mini Cooper.
I don't think I'm gonna like it, but I think it's gonna do better than I expect.
Yeah, well, he's one of the ones that isn't just taking the body and putting it on some other
I know, he's
frame.
like
he's
too-
trying to build
Yeah,
everything, which is going to be. So it's basically like
Looks wild.
it's going to be a tube chassis basically
Yeah.
with a mini body kind of around it.
Yeah.
which is what I'm saying. Like I think it's probably gonna do really well, and if he does it right, I mean, it'd be like having a buggy that has a Jeep grill in it. I mean, maybe he takes enough of
Yeah.
the body off of it that it's a Mini Cooper tube buggy.
I mean, I get that they want him to have this freedom of creativity, but I think that some of them were leaning a little too far into the I'm going to do something weird and wacky
Yeah.
and not care about the original concept of we're camping out of this vehicle because
Yeah.
you're not going to have any fucking space in a Mini to haul any of your stuff, even for one person,
Yeah,
especially
it's not gonna
if
be a good overlander.
especially if you've tube chassied the fucking thing.
Yeah,
Just like there's not that much room in a KJ in a friggin' Liberty. Like there's, I mean, even for two people, I mean maybe pull the back seats out and just have as much stuff in there as you can.
well,
But
I mean,
that's not
the
that
buggy
big.
guys
and
do
the
the
Series
Rubicon.
3 for Nate also not a big vehicle, but at least it's a truck. So
I mean, buggy guys go out and do the Rubicon camp for the night,
they rough it.
but Yeah.
They're
It
going
just depends on
camping.
what
Yeah,
you're- yeah.
hammock, and I mean, technically, that's a way to do it, but
So there's another thing that you might like that I don't know if you caught yet, Colin. There's a wild card. Have you seen the wild card person?
no.
So there's a wild card
There's
entry.
an extra person that
There's-
nobody knows who he is or what
Well,
he's doing.
I don't know when it was released or whatever, whenever they announced it, but there is the wild card person. They're all over the social media stuff a little bit now. Like there's been a few things. It's this Ultra 4 Jones guy, which remember the full size OBS trucks that ran the Rubicon?
Yeah.
It's that guy. He has a
Oh.
Bronco, an OBS Bronco. He's done a 7.3 swap in and is putting this.
Oh, I did see some of that actually.
right.
Yeah,
So-
but I didn't know that that's what it was for.
That's what
Okay.
it's for.
Interesting.
Really, really fun stats on the standings currently of the
For the voting,
for the
the
voting.
people's vote.
And I'm gonna assume that the guy, whatever his name is, this wild card person is probably maybe a week into the competition as opposed to 6 months or whatever for the others. The top, well, I'll just give all of them. So let's go worst to first.
Yeah, bottom to top.
Yeah.
Babe. Come on.
Ultra 4 Jones,
Okay, he's at the bottom.
5 votes.
Ooh,
That's
okay.
it.
All right.
Ouch.
Well, I didn't even know
5.
about him yet. So,
Five.
to his credit, he's not visible.
Oh yeah, not too far behind because next is Dirt Lifestyle Nate
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
with 9,595.
Mhm.
Pretty
But
close, tight
Nate-
race.
But Nate's still at the bottom, which he always was
Oh, he is.
last
It's the
year
worst-
as
yeah.
well,
Yeah.
because he does not get people to vote for him at all.
Yep.
Even though he does pretty good in as far as the
This is
build and the
YouTube.
competitions go.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
He gets the content out of it.
There
Doesn't
seems to
matter
be
if he
like
wins.
2 tiers basically here is what's
Mhm.
going on. All right, so then you got Trail Builds It, which is the Colt guy and the Trail Mater guy. I think
Right.
his name is Rory, by the way.
Ooh, yes, you are correct.
So, all right. Good,
Yep.
good for me. 10,255.
Okay,
Kind of
but none
tight.
of none of those count.
Yeah, because apparently they're
Both
leaving,
Because
right?
if he's out, so they should give those to the
Wild
wild
card.
card guy,
There you go. Yeah,
and then
that's fair.
start
Yeah.
it back up.
Yeah.
Nate's going to lose no matter what, right?
Yeah.
So even though it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what he does.
It'll do well. Yeah.
And then you got Robbie Layton, 12,183
Okay.
for the bread van.
I'm getting the Mormons involved.
Speaking of
Allegedly.
Mormons, allegedly, you got Rudy's Adventure and Design, 13,582.
But
He's
that
done
one's not
182.
allegedly,
He's donated more to
Well,
the church, probably.
Yeah.
because
Definitely.
he's directly related to Matt's.
Okay, well then how about allegedly Mischief Maker,
Okay.
37,453. We
Oh.
start to get into tier 1 here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
not even tier
the
1
big
yet.
the big dogs.
Yeah, so you go from 13.5 to 37.5. Like,
Mhm.
that's a jump.
That's a big jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have the Bleepin' Jeep crew with their XJ, 39,140.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Okay.
puts Fab Rats at number 1 with
Yeah.
the Willys.
Yep.
It's called a Wagoneer. That was 42,344. So
Okay.
the top 3 are tight. Like that's all in there. That's probably a day of voting could change
Yeah.
that easily.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
don't know what the electoral college looks like for this, but
Yeah, certain states worth more.
Bleepin' Jeep could take it depending on the state.
What states did he get?
Yeah, and then they're all gonna be at SEMA. I'm excited to actually see
Yeah,
these
that's
rigs.
part of the road
there.
trip. Basically,
Yeah.
is they're going to like overland and wheel, and then the end point is SEMA, and all the vehicles will be at SEMA
Mhm.
for everyone to see.
That's
Kinda
cool.
neat.
Is it
Ma?
wheel it and then SEMA, or is it
Yeah.
SEMA and then wheel it?
SEMA is the last
It's
stop.
the last stop. Okay, that'll be interesting. That'll be cool to see. Is this them or someone else I saw is doing a display that you can register for, but you don't have to be registered for SEMA? Maybe it's somebody
I
else.
don't know.
They might be doing.
I did see that one of the other things was you can come on this trip. You apply, and you
interesting.
could potentially be invited on the trip. I don't know what
I
I
think
didn't
on-
look into what the
Yeah.
rules and regulations were of like how you could potentially qualify for it, but they
Yeah.
did kind of hint at that in a couple of the videos. Like, hey, if you want to come on this trip,
Yeah.
you can apply here and potentially come along.
To me, the Onyx thing that made more sense would be more like the Ultimate Adventure, like the Overland Adventure,
Mhm.
that's no longer happening because the magazine's dried up. Like they should fill that gap. Well, they're happening. They're just changing the names. They're not Ultimate Adventure and they're not Overland Adventure anymore, or whatever that one was called.
It's just the one.
I have
and we
not
just talked
seen
about this.
anything that they're doing the Overland Adventure anymore.
Yeah.
Anyone is at all.
Yeah,
But
the Ultimate
it is now
Unreal. Yeah,
Yeah. And
but it's just not magazine based. It's now their own thing.
yeah, it's pretty much looks like it's going to be the same thing. It's just
Yeah.
not going to
It's-
land on four-wheeler.
Yeah, and
Which is fine.
It is not covered as well.
Well,
It's covered.
It'll be
but it
covered
is-
in other places
but
for
it is
sure.
not covered
Yeah.
as well. As the quality of coverage is not as high as it was with the magazine.
but they did promise that
that's
they're
for obvious reasons.
Yeah, they promised the videos would be longer again though, because they had all those like what was it last year or the year before? They did all those weird short videos that were not.
It was like 10-minute,
Yeah,
like quick,
I would watch
quick hitter movies.
I would watch
yeah.
an hour per day if that was available. Like,
If
that
they
would be
made it like
fine.
more
Yeah.
YouTube formatted, I'm sure it would still get the views for sure. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I think that most of the like long form content from that was from people that were on the trip that have a YouTube.
yeah. Well, Dave Chappelle finally
Not the
fixed
comedian.
that front Jeep. You know, that orange Jeep that was always on the Ultimate Adventure stuff that
Mhm.
had the two fronts. He bought that to do the Unreal Adventure, cut one of the fronts off, which is the back front, and put a truck bed on it. And it finally
And
looks.
that's what he took.
Yeah, and it looks so much better. Turns out.
Imagine that.
Yeah,
That's
you can fix
Building
a Jeep by-
something stupid
Nobody
looks
loves
better when you build it like a normal person.
nobody loves the front of a JK anyway, and to have two fronts.
Double up on it.
You're like,
I was mistaken on the SEMA thing. They will be at SEMA, obviously, but the thing I was thinking about is 503 Motoring is doing an RWB build, like in the outer lot somewhere,
Oh,
and that is something you can get into. I don't know how they've negotiated this. It's very interesting to me, but they apparently you can just go see it if you're around. So it's kind of interesting.
that's cool.
I saw-
I feel like some of that's kind of lost its.
It has for sure. I think you know
luster.
we don't have to go on that road. I've
like to go
always
back.
been a little
Yeah.
like lukewarm and into it. Like it's very hard for me to like really be fully in love with those cars, but I love the story and I love like the original cars so much that
Mhm.
you know it's cool overall. Like if somebody builds one, good for them. Also, there is like the side of like I imagine there's going to be a time where I'm when we're all in our 60s and people are trying to unfuck these things basically, and that's going to be pretty funny because
well-
they're going to be like.
Good luck, because they're cut.
Yeah, they're going to be finding 964 turbos and being like, I want to restore this to original, and it's going to take a lot. But
Yep.
anyways,
This isn't the one.
dude, I saw a reel earlier today of one of the more recent RWB. Man, I don't know why I'm having trouble with that. RWB
The
builds.
toe hook.
Yeah. Oh my God.
He siliconed a tow hook into the front bumper.
What?
For
I-
those of you that didn't know.
What?
I gotta,
Mhm.
like, there's gotta be more context.
Is it bolted like through and then they
No
silicone
bolts.
around
Nope.
it?
Nope. Siliconed the top of it and then stuck it in this little pocket and pushed it into the top. Just like lifted
think-
it and
I think if you're gonna SEMA some shit to your car, you don't show people. Let them find it.
Well, here's the thing: he's building these cars with people watching, so it's not
Mhm.
like now.
Yeah, he's got an
Also,
audience for
he-
all of them now.
He's notoriously the guy that, in the past, has like refused to do cars that didn't have performance modifications or refused to do things
because
without having
the
full
original
control
concept
over things.
was the fact that these are track cars.
Yeah.
That is what he's building them for. That's why he's building them, is because it is a track car. We have RWB track days
Yeah.
in Japan and shit
For
like
this.
that. Like, that's what he's building them for. And I think that now he's gotten to that point of, you're willing to pay me how much?
Okay,
Okay.
Sure.
I'll fuck up your 996 for that much. Like,
yeah. Who cares?
I mean, who
Yeah.
wouldn't? It's the same concept as selling your fucking wheel company and making a bunch of
Absolutely.
money.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
hard
sure.
to blame him. The difference maybe is that his hands are still on the product, but still, I don't. And again, maybe there's like a, hey, this has got to be done. This is temporary, whatever. But like, that's
Or
pretty
maybe
bad.
it's-
that
yeah.
was a moment of me looking at it going, God, I don't want to believe everything on the internet, but
Mm.
this looks terrible.
That was video evidence.
Ugh,
That's too
so
bad.
it's
That's a
rough.
weird thing. I could see like, I'm not gonna put all the time and effort into putting a tow hook on your car if you're not ever gonna track it. Of course, F you.
Sure, don't put
Stick
it on.
Well, I don't know.
Just don't put it
seems-
on.
Yeah,
Just
I agree.
don't.
Somebody's
Simple
gonna
as
hook up. Somebody's gonna hook up to that someday, and it's gonna be hilarious.
Mhm.
Well, at least it won't break the bumper.
Yeah.
So,
That's true.
you know,
It's a
kind of
low impact
kind of a win-win.
breakage.
Oh man. Well, do you have a anything? Any? Would you pay money for this or no?
Why were you counting on that?
A little bit,
A little bit.
just
huh?
a little bit. You know what? It's become my favorite segment.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
Have
been a
you?
f- I've-
you've-
I've
yeah,
done
you've
one.
done.
Yeah.
You've done one. It's
Is it
actually
two?
kind of my favorite one to listen to as
Oh.
well. I was just I just went on a trip and I was listening to us and I listened to the one where we talked about the Fuso box truck thing.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
the one I was at.
Blue.
And I should have remembered that. And I just thought
That's
it was
okay.
funny.
I'm
Like,
forgettable.
that was
It's
good.
blue and it's ugly. Or
Would you
hideous.
pay money for
It's
it?
blue and it's hideous.
Oh, we could do that camper that Colin sent into the group chat, the slide-in one.
Oh, I'd pay money for that.
You'd pay that money for that?
That's not a
That's
slide.
not- that's not the game.
That's a flatbed.
It's not the game. The game is not what is it worth.
Well, it's a flatbed, but it's a fully enclosed slide-in.
Right. It's not. That's not a slide-in. Slide-in
It's a
implies
sit on
that
top.
there is a bed that it slides into, not sets on top of.
See,
Oh boy, we're into semantics
well, that's
here.
fine. And I always took it as a slide-in was something that is not attached like permanently to the truck. So you slide it in, you slide it out. You
There's
just take it
still
on and
because
off.
you can still have.
Still the only way you
you can
get it.
have flatbed campers.
Yeah.
It's not considered a slide-in.
Yeah, I've always been this way too. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I understand that as just a camper, and then a slide-in camper is a pickup bed camper. That's just
Well, so what about my flatbed that had
that's a slide-in
You
camper
had
on a
slide-in
flatbed.
camper on a flatbed. Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, to me, if it's not finished
if
sides,
it's got the
Mhm.
yeah, so if it's T-shaped.
that is a slide-in.
Okay.
If it's
Yeah.
not,
It's got to fit through between wheel wells.
Got it.
Slide-in.
this is why a GFC is a topper.
That's a topper. Yes.
Yeah.
This is
but
not
I know
a
that.
slide-in.
I know that. See, so I would not have called that a slide-in,
good because it
um,
doesn't slide in.
right? It sits on.
Put some jacks on it; it might slide in though.
Right to the top.
So I don't think I would.
Okay, hold on. Before you answer the
Wow.
question, I'm just going to say this. So
yeah.
we've had this group.
Well thought out.
We have a group message. We talk about this all the time. One of our guys sent us all a camper that he had recently found that was like in his neighborhood, and it's a like fiberglass overland style camper like a OE what is it, OEX or what's that brand? That's the U.S. brand. Overland. Well, like an Earth Cruiser camper, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
A fiberglass shell camper with a pop top and and they just kind of seemingly appeared out of nowhere. I think he reverse image searched it or someone
I
else
did.
did. Okay, you did.
He sent
and-
in. And I just googled it.
Yeah.
I was like, you could have.
And we
that.
found that there's like an Australian manufacturer, and this is obviously like probably one of those. Anyways, it also just recently popped up for sale, or one like it. Hard to
Mhm.
tell if it's
Yeah.
the same one.
a
And it's
a
18.
unit like it showed up on Facebook Marketplace,
Mhm.
but it is this guy that is his product that he is
Yeah,
marketing because he's
he's
got a
selling them.
website
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Yeah.
And it's
Right.
18 grand. And it's it's a I don't know. It's not a slide-in camper.
It's a
It's it's a
to back under it and set it down.
I mean, it's what do they call those? In Australia, they call those like a tradie canopy, is what they call that because it goes on a tray bed,
right.
and the tradesmen can use it for work. But
Right.
so this one is basically it looks just like that, but it has a integrated tent.
Mhm.
So it kind of is combining the truck topper with the utilitarianism of a Aussie canopy.
Right.
So before we get too far, I want to correct myself. OEV is the company I was thinking about.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they make
Okay.
like these.
I
They're
knew
a
what you
little
meant,
bigger.
but I couldn't see. I couldn't.
And they're like $40,000, by the way.
Yeah.
Just saying. So,
Would I pay money for that? Though?
would you pay money for that?
I'd get another 4-wheel camper.
Just price to price. If they were exact same, if it was 5,000 versus 5,000, you'd buy a 4-wheel camper.
I'd buy another 4-wheel camper. Yeah, like I
Okay.
had. Because they make, for the 18 grand, you can get
Ah,
a
no, no.
flatbed.
No money.
That's what I'm saying. Well, for the money.
Same.
Yeah,
They're the same price.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get a flatbed 4-wheel camper for the same price.
Okay.
That's the money I would
And
spend.
you would prefer it?
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
It has an inside that's built out in any kind of freaking way.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
to me.
I mean,
that's the thing. Is it seems
I'm just
too-
curious.
The
yeah.
thing
It
about
seems
that
too
thing
barren.
was,
Yeah.
is the inside of it is literally, it's a place to stand
Yeah.
that isn't in the bed. That's basically it, because
Exactly.
everything is built for being accessible from the outside, except for the drawers that are under the bed directly, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so, like, that is handy in a sense. Like, I can see some advantages, but there are also the disadvantages. But that's what the whole thing is. That's what all of this is about. Is
Yeah.
figuring out where your trade-offs, where you want your trade-offs to be
Mhm.
when it comes to your camping comfortability or wheeling capability or what have you. So I like the idea.
I feel like it's probably lighter, obviously, than a 4-wheel camper,
Yes.
but it's just you're gonna fill it up with all the stuff that you're gonna build out in there anyway. In which case, it wouldn't be much lighter, I would bet, because
And it's not, the build out for that thing is going to be a little bit different because it's going to be more overland than it is camper.
right.
So like the products you're going to be using are going to be smaller, potentially lighter, like things like that. It's going to be much more sparse because you don't have as much space in there.
But see, and then for me, I'd go GFC because it's proven, and I know that it does that. So
Well,
that's just where like this doesn't. To me, this doesn't have a.
it's like
This
a
is in
weird
the middle.
ground.
Yeah, but it's not a sweet spot middle.
Can
it's
I?
like
So I didn't look at the inside of that very well. So can I just show you this picture of this one, and you're going to see the price?
Yeah.
But that's going to be part of my point. Is it like this?
no,
It's like less than that.
it's empty.
Okay.
It's shell.
Okay, that's good
Yeah.
to know. So
That's
these,
more like 4-wheel camper style.
yeah.
that
These
To me, makes sense.
yeah, the OEV ones are very expensive. So
Yeah.
that one is the base, and it's like 41. The really fancy one is 70-ish before you start doing stuff to it.
Which is wild.
So this thing's a bargain, but yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you. I think that the
Yeah.
4-wheel camper is a good option. I think that the thing.
All right.
I think that I lost my train of thought.
You're welcome.
They're
I
very
think
expensive.
that-
4-wheel camper.
Oh, I think that I would choose something that's like a topper camper in a lot of scenarios because I would be very worried that something like this would rattle itself apart.
Mhm.
I think that the fiberglass like full shell thing, as opposed to like a framed corrugated side camper, to
Mhm.
me is maybe like a step above a 4-wheel camper in durability potentially, with less repair option.
And
So-
I agree, except with the flatbed version, because my camper had a wood base with a aluminum frame for the top. The flatbed one is full aluminum frame, so
Yeah.
it doesn't have as much.
Yeah.
Also has more floor space because of that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
a
for sure.
ton more.
For sure. Yeah. I don't know which one I'd like. So I wouldn't make the comparison. I'm just saying
Yeah.
I would buy that thing. I think it's cool.
See, I would do the topper because the GFC stuff is proven, and it's the similar layout to me in my thoughts,
It's half the cost.
and lighter. Well, but would you pay money for it? But yeah. No,
Yeah.
and also I agree though. GFC is way cheaper, and I think you get
Than that, yeah.
almost exactly the same amount of amenities.
Well, yeah. The only difference is you're sealed into you're not sealed. You're in the truck bed instead of sealing off an area. That's the difference.
Right.
So there's no dust proofing, with the exception of the tent part, which we've talked about and everybody knows. But the camper scenario, shut the door, all the
It's a
side
sealed
things,
unit.
it's all sealed. That's like, and
But then
sure,
it unuseful your bed. You don't get with the GFC. You throw lumber back there. You do other things with
Oh,
your
sure.
bed. It's still a truck bed.
Yeah.
With a lot of those other ones.
Yeah, it's for
this.
a
You're no
committed.
longer.
yeah. But I mean, then you
Granted,
think
it's
about
got the posts that you can like pull out from underneath it, and then you've got a flatbed. But
Yeah.
there's one more step to
Yeah.
going out and using it. that again, the trade-off
Yeah.
of how often do you use it,
Is sealing
how
that
quickly
little bit.
do you want to be able to go and use it,
Yeah.
comparatively to, So, I've got a. Would you pay money for this?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, nice. All right.
So I'll share the screen. You'll have to share your screen with Mike there, Sean, since Mike didn't bring a screen.
I didn't. I had a phone and I threw it over there because it was vibrating on the table.
That's not the first time you've decided
phone?
to throw a phone
yeah.
in the middle of what we're doing.
Here I am. Unapologetic.
All right, so
Oh man, I can't see these without.
Here
Go ahead.
we are.
It's fine.
We've got
Oh,
an
man.
off-grid expedition truck.
This is Jesse's
Prices
dream, isn't it?
$118,500.
Seems like a lot.
Stewart and Stevenson from 1997. So this thing has a Cat 3116, an Allison 7-speed.
Ooh, and Allison.
Yep, he's owned it for 4 years and lived and traveled out of it for 3 of those.
Okay. All
So
right.
this is the purpose of this is live in. This is not exactly a wheeler, not exactly it's live in it.
Okay. All right.
1,980 watts of solar.
That seems like a lot.
That's a lot.
That'll run an air conditioner.
420 amp hours of battery, which is
Also a lot.
4 times as much as what I have.
Yeah.
Air conditioned, 122 gallons of water.
What are you gonna do with it? You putting out fires with this thing?
This is
Well,
awesome.
he's living in it.
I
You don't know
but
when you're going to be able to fill it back up.
122 gallons later, I think you run out of a lot of other things.
It better have a shower in it because that's how you're
it
using
has
that
a water
water.
heater. Does
Okay,
have a water
all right.
heater. Okay.
Okay.
No CDO required, you guys.
Thank God.
That's okay.
It's good to know.
32,000 miles on the truck. Just put a new engine in. Mileage will continue to go up.
That's broken in, just barely.
He is located in Chattanooga.
Military stamped rebuild.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust anything that guys like me have rebuilt. Here's the thing, right?
But doesn't when a military vehicle is decommissioned, doesn't it get the rebuilt tag when it gets resold to a normal person?
Right, which doesn't mean that it's rebuilt because they take
Exactly.
all the good parts
Well, that's
off.
what I'm saying. Is it doesn't mean it's rebuilt. It's not like it's been wrecked and somebody had to. It's not like it went to the freaking auto shop and got rebuilt. It's just that
I thought they were saying
It's
that
a-
the motor
it's a
was
branded
military stamped
title
rebuild.
now.
That makes sense. So if they're talking about the title, I thought they were talking about that engine rebuild that they were saying in the same sentence.
It said
And I
just
was
put
like-
a new engine in, though.
Right, and I was like, I don't think
Yeah.
if that new engine is military stamped, I would be worried about it. I would not trust guys like me.
I'm waiting for the first picture so I can say yes or no.
Here's the first picture.
Yep, I'm in.
So it's a cab.
Me too.
Obvious cab over. If you knew what a Stuart Stevenson was, and it's essentially got a trailer on
small RV.
on the flatbed.
Which is genius.
So that's just the first.
We can just end the episode now. I'm in.
I'm in.
Okay,
Yep.
well,
You can't.
There's his solar array.
Oh my
it's like-
God.
That's so rad.
It's like a transformer.
So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 panels.
Why's he even got the awning? The solar will take care of it.
So a 9-panel solar unit up there for all the solar.
It's absorbing so much of the sun that you don't need the awning.
Mhm.
Yeah, it cools you off.
It's
Air
got
conditioner's unnecessary.
Oh my
too.
God, it's got a pirate
In the
pirate
shower.
flag shower curtain. So that's sick.
big Dometic.
Ooh, that's nice. That's a good way to do that.
It's quite the
Actually, I'm kind of not a fan of the
built
fridge
out
scenario.
inside. It's kind of a weird. Yeah, it's kind of like
I
a
don't like that.
what am I looking for? Like a 1940s house cabinetry build out.
Yeah.
Is kind of what this.
That was
vibes
probably
for
the
me.
refrigerator before, and they did their own cabinets. And
It's got
Yeah.
wood on the
I
ceiling.
was about to say, it's got a floor
It's
on the
luxury.
Floor
ceiling.
on the ceiling,
and
baby.
when you roll it over, you don't have to worry about taking your shoes off. Yeah.
A
And
little bit of art on the walls.
So the bed, I assume, is this table that you have to convert. So there
that's a
is
downside.
a downside right there.
Yeah.
I would prefer a dedicated bed
Yeah.
while having a dedicated sitting space.
Yeah.
If it were me.
Yeah, I would too.
Because I don't see any other place to put a bed. So that's
It's
got to be what it is.
Surprisingly small in the living space for what appears to be a very big
so
rig.
it says truck and cab. So that's all that stuff. It's got
47-inch tire.
307s for the gears. $0.40.
Highway gears, it says.
Yeah, buddy. Top
You-
speed is 76. Highway speed.
All right.
Set the cruise at 70 and just keep
Yeah,
trucking.
buddy.
Listen to that
So
diesel screaming.
Habitat. So 41 gallons of gray, 122 fresh, like I said. 4-gallon electric water heater. Then there's the amperages and whatnot. Charge controllers, yada, yada, yada.
Oh, it's a
Inverter.
full-size bed. This is made for one person. I just realized
Yeah,
that.
I think it probably is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dometic, tool top.
So this is for like a weekend with the guys. You camp in this while everybody camps in their rooftop tents and you laugh at them.
Mm-hmm.
And
I-
then you probably go wherever they're going too. You're just going to have to knock some trees down
Other
along
than
the
size regulation, yeah.
way. Slowly.
This is where you go to Utah. It's big and open and flat. You don't have to worry about trees.
Sure. Yeah.
Sand Hollow, you could get anywhere you want to go. See, I would have built out the inside a little different, but I would still pay money for it, and then I would figure out how to build out the inside a little different.
16 feet long, 6'3" internal height.
I don't think it needs as much kitchen as it has.
Yeah. So it's a 16-foot trailer, basically, is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah, with a 16-foot trailer, you
See,
don't need a full kitchen.
Especially when you're like you said, Sean, you're by yourself, technically, probably. You could have, that's not big enough. You could have gone ahead and like reduced your table
hmm
slightly, just done like a one-sided or even a double-sided still like it is now with the table in the middle, and made it smaller
yeah.
and kind of better use the space to then have like a dedicated bed so that you're not
There's
always
room to
having
dance
to
in there while
swap
someone's cooking
back and
dinner.
forth.
There's got this huge open space in the middle.
Yeah.
I
I think you can modify that to have a pretty good sized bed, like above that seating area, and then do something different with the layout.
do a bunk
Mhm.
bed.
Like do
That's what I was trying to
storage
think of.
under that, and then make seating on the side where the like fridge and stuff is now. Something like that would
you
be
do
because
like
that
Class
is
C motorhome style.
raised
yeah.
quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely could have had that set lower and then put the bed in
Yeah.
above
Well, there's
that
probably
area.
water or a bin under there. It's
That's
based off.
That's
of the way
probably what it
normally
is.
they are.
Yeah,
But
he's probably
yeah.
got his water tanks and batteries and all that underneath there. So
yeah,
that,
you go bunk bed style and you give yourself a queen size at least somewhere, and you'd be fine.
So all
But
this,
it just got a lot of kitchen.
yeah, it does.
It's a chef's kitchen.
Hey,
really.
it really
we all
is.
know when you entertain, everybody hangs out in the kitchen anyways.
You know, you're right.
People don't
You're right.
sleep there usually, but
In this case, though,
Well,
you could put a
on
tent
this-
side
They
out.
might.
On
Yeah.
this countertop, I mean that's a single at least right there you could lay on. So
yeah,
You
definitely.
get
just cover the sink and
Roll your flat top out, and you're good.
Good to go.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I would pay money for this.
I would.
I'd probably come at him with an offer,
Mhm.
but
Well, it doesn't say
It's-
motivated seller like some of the previous
yeah,
ones we've
good
talked
point.
about.
Good
We're
So-
still living in it. Yeah.
what was it praised at 118,000?
They just
professionally appraised.
They're able to get insurance at that.
Yeah, he says you can take the appraisal to a bank to get a loan if needed. Actually, you could probably get a loan as an RV pretty easy on this. Not
Yeah.
advised, but you get like a 30-year term on something like that. So,
Which is a house.
and on that bombshell,
You could live in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd pay money for that. It's so. It's
oh,
super
Colin,
rad.
what about you?
No.
Just not at all.
No.
Not for you.
No.
It's cool.
Layout or just you don't really love that type of truck. I feel like though too.
I think a lot of it is I know how miserable it would be to actually travel in it
Yeah.
because I know how miserable like military vehicles are. They're
Yeah.
not comfort. They're not
Yeah.
comfort vehicles. So
Absolutely.
long, like,
A 6 hour.
doing quick little pops here and there and camping out of it, sure. But if you're gonna have to put in an 8-10 hour day, it's gonna be a fucking shitty day.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't want to drive that thing to South America.
No,
I have done that.
I mean,
Those long days and those kind of rigs, and it's
Yeah,
not.
it's
it
not-
Ain't, it ain't good.
yeah, it's not.
Do you think it's better if people are not trying to blow you up the whole time though?
Nominally, that gives you something to do.
Not
you know what I mean?
noise wise.
You don't have to.
Not noise wise.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. At least it keeps it exciting.
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
you don't
that's
feel
true.
sleepy.
That's true.
Um,
I mean, Assuming it's true.
very hot either way.
Either way.
Yeah.
So
With the engine right there. Yeah. Yeah. That's like the dude out in Sisters that we talked about with that Unimog on 54s. I saw a video just today. No engine cover. Engine's
man.
just right next to him. Whew, it's
Yeah.
going to be miserable. But
if you're snow wheeling, it's great.
my prediction was correct. He is using it for tours, for 4x4 tours, and he says recovery too. But yeah, so it's got
We should
it's
definitely
got
go do a tour with this guy.
seats and
We
stuff.
should we should do a podcast
in
tour.
the bed of it. He just went and weighed it so that he could get it registered. because-
13,000
because of how
pounds.
because of the size of it.
Sure.
Registration depends on what are our guesses. on weight?
13,000 pounds.
I think right at 10. That's my guess.
My red truck with
I
camper
know.
was 10,000. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just thinking of the size of a Unimog overall, but plus the big tires,
Mhm.
Yeah.
plus the old style stuff. I think it's going to be lighter than we expect. So I'm going to say 10.
So what he was hoping for was to be under 10, because then that would mean that he could register it without CDL.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And just barely made it.
Really?
Yeah.
Like 99.
They pulled on to the way station out there in Sisters, right
Mhm.
outside of town, and him and his wife were in it, 10 on the money.
Oh, man.
And he's like, get out. Tells his wife to get out. She gets out. Sure enough, drops like 150 because it's rounding up
Yeah,
to 50, obviously. So like without the two of them in it, it's 97, 98.
All right.
So
Okay. And then it's probably got an empty fuel tank. He probably took a couple quarts of oil out of it.
I don't know. I don't know what.
Well, so
I
Unimogs
would,
are not
yeah.
that big.
Yeah.
That's the thing that
That-
always gets me. I always am surprised.
well, think about how close the tires are to each other.
Yeah.
And they're 52s. So that's
That's
so
where I thought most of the weight was
there's
going to be.
50 inches right there. If you go from axle to center axle to center axle, there's
Yeah.
50 inches, and then there's like a foot between the two tires.
It looks like a monster truck.
Yep. We should get him on.
That's what I'm just saying. And then also we should take a tour with him.